Welcome to the Profitable Web Designer Podcast, the place where women web designers come to raise their prices, book higher paying projects, and run their web design businesses without overwhelm and burnout. I'm your host, Shannon Mattern, pricing strategist and founder of the Web Designer Academy, where you're just one proposal away from the money you truly deserve to be making. And I'm here to help you build a web design business that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. So let's go ahead and dive into this week's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Profitable Web Designer Podcast. And today I'm thrilled to be joined by Cathy Olson, who is the co-founder of Funnel Gorgeous and FG Funnels, where they empower women with affordable marketing tools and strategies. And Cathy is also the co-host of the Gorgeous Effect podcast, and probably so many more things that we're going to get into in our interview today. So Cathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I don't get to talk to designers very much, so this is going to be really fun because I usually talk to people who are non-designers. So it's like I love to speak to my brethren it's like we get each other. So this is my favorite topic to talk about.
I'm so excited to have you here. And you've been on my list to reach out to for a while because part of what we do here at the Web Designer Academy and Profitable Web Designer Podcast is we don't teach design skills at all. I know it's called the Web Designer Academy. It's called the Profitable Web Designer. Yeah. There will be no teaching about any type of tech or anything going on here. We're all about the business side of running a profitable, sustainable business that you don't hate. And you have been in the orbit of the people that I work with when I ask them, who do you follow? Who are you working with? Like, what other memberships are you a part of? FG Society comes up all the time. And so that's one of the reasons that I wanted to meet you and get to know you and have you on the show. So can you share a little bit more with our listeners just about you and what you do?
Yeah, it totally makes sense that you're teaching the business side too, because the creative side, I think for a lot of us is like, that's our genius zone. So we don't really need like too much on that side, but it's like the other side of the coin is when you are such a good creative person, you're not so great of a business owner. So I see why you do this. And actually, I think a lot of people identify with kind of being an accidental business owner, an accidental entrepreneur in the creative space. You're like, I just love doing this. It was really fun. People told me I was good at it. They started wanting me to do their thing. And then all of a sudden I was taking money and I had to become an accountant. You're like, how do I know the story? Because it was my story. So it's very similar. I'm definitely an accidental entrepreneur. I never planned on being that. I did go to school for design. So I am one of those weird freaks that knew what they wanted to do when they grew up. Although this didn't exist. So I didn't really know. But at the same time, I knew I wanted to do something creative. So always done creative things, always knew I wanted to make money commercially from art in one way or another. But yeah, becoming a business owner was crazy. So I actually worked for a design studio where we worked with multi-billion-dollar brands, Disney, Apple, Costco, Best Buy, you name it. And I learned the basic skills, production, all the stuff you don't learn in school. You learn how to design, you don't learn how to do production work. So that was like really invaluable. But they don't teach you business stuff. Like nobody teaches you business stuff. So even if you do go to school for it. So that part of it was I broke all the rules, did all the things. I probably should have been attacked by the IRS, I'm sure. Like back then, like, I don't know what I was even doing. That was a long time ago. So I've learned a lot. And yeah, fast forward to I had a design studio doing high-end web design. So I started teaching people how I was charging, what I was charging, how to become booked out, how to become sought after. That was like my first foray into doing courses, was really just teaching other people how the heck I was doing what I was doing. And then I was introduced to the world of sales funnels. I was introduced to Julie, and that was in 2017, actually. And I just became obsessed. Like, I think there's always been a side of me that loves the marketing side or just like the psychology of why design works, I think. And so that really, when I started learning the psychology of sales, it kind of ticked that box for me that design alone wasn't ticking. Because I just always was like, well, what's behind the design? And like, people were like, just do it. And I'm like, no, but like, what's the, I always wanted to understand why things did like almost, like a tinkerer, half left brain, half right brain. So that's why I love to do this now. And I love to teach people conversion strategies. Like, how are we? Because I know we feel it, right? As designers, we're like, I don't know, that just feels better. But we have to explain it to our clients because they don't understand it. And I think it's a huge superpower if you lean into, because it is, especially even in the world of AI, it's becoming more and more and more valuable to break down how humans think and how we make decisions. And visually, this is so hard for most people to do. So like we have this like dormant superpower of we can make visuals sell, and AI is still terrible at it. It has like no hope almost to be so good at. So it's like we're opening up this big opportunity. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it's a huge opportunity. And so I'm like screaming from the rooftops, become a good designer, become a strategic designer, and you will never go hungry because these tools don't do that. Right. So I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. Feel free to stop me. But that's where my heart's lying at now of like, oh my gosh, we are needed so much more than ever. And we're not pixel pushers. We never really were. But now like people are kind of seeing it.
Oh my gosh, I was so excited by
Sorry, a
like
little
5
model.
things that you said. I'm like, can we talk about all 5 of them
Yes.
right now? But like one of the reasons, so I just hosted the Simply Profitable Designer Summit. We called it Conversion Fest. And the reason why is because I want every single designer, web designer listening to this to stop thinking of themselves as a pixel pusher if they haven't already, but to truly believe that what they do creates valuable outcomes and results for their clients. And it's not just, oh, this looks nice and oh, they're really proud of it and it looks good and they're confident to market it. Like, that's all great. But I want you to know that you have created something that aligns with the way that human brains think, so that when you are charging what you should be charging for this strategy in your super smart brain and being able to like translate their business into something that actually does lead a client through to a buying decision, you're not just like, oh, but it's so easy for me to use Squarespace to like lay out a page. And so, yeah, that'll be $1,000. Like, no, like, let's stop doing that. So that's one of the, when you talked about you want every designer to think of themselves in that way, like that lights me up, because we think, how do we stand out in AI or in a sea? It used to be, how do I stand out in the sea of all of the other designers? Or how do I charge more when everybody else is charging less? Or it's the same question, just asked 17 different ways, depending on what's going on in the world. And I think you just have a beautiful answer to that question. So,
yeah, the answer is the same. Like, because when I would teach, like this is how I would charge more, right? This is how I went from charging like $1,000 to $10,000 to like $25,000 to $50,000, right? This is how I got more, was the strategy, was the sales and marketing side. And so I would say to everybody, the skill that you do need to learn, because you don't really need the design stuff, obviously, is the sales and marketing side. Period. End of story. That's what you need to learn. Because in the psychology of why, if nothing else, to just explain yourself to your clients so that they can actually value what you're creating. And it's not just pixels, right? That there's all of the underlying things. Like I always, and I do this through examples all the time. I say, when someone gives you a list or something, and you could do it in bullet points, or you could do it in a grid, or you're doing it vertical, or like, how are you choosing to organize the information? There's a way that you're going to choose to organize it so that the brain reads it easier and more simply, right? And that the message connects. But we need to explain that instead of just doing it and going, here you go. We say, I designed it in such a way so that they understand the most important thing is this, that like explain why or the hierarchy exists so that they can understand there's a strategy behind it. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what they're looking at, and they just don't know why it works. But when you explain all the thought that went into it and why you did what you did, then it's like, now it's valuable. But I would say, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, then that's when you need to learn the strategy of sales. And you need to understand how to actually talk someone into something with design, because we can make the mistake of making things pretty. And that's it, right? Because like we can kind of fool them, right? In a way, right? We can make it pretty, but it actually might not actually sell as well. And I think that actually creates the misconfidence when we don't really know why we're doing what we're doing. And we're like, yeah, it looks great. I don't actually know if it's going to sell better. I remember feeling like this. Like people would come to me like, I need to rebrand my website. And I would put stuff out and I go, I don't really actually know if they're going to sell more. I know it looks good, but I don't really have any strategy back here. I just did it because I thought it looked cool. And so I would actually feel really not confident, right? I'd actually feel very imposter syndrome-y when I was designing like that because I wasn't sure if they would actually I didn't even know if they would make their investment back. And that is a crappy thing to feel. And I don't know if anyone else felt like that or is feeling like that. But when you learn these sales and marketing principles and like you said, conversion and like what moves someone closer to a purchase or booking a call or like whatever you're trying to do or becoming a follower. Once we start to learn how to work visuals in that way and towards a goal, we feel so much better about our pricing, our explanations, and we know that they are going to have success. So now everything becomes easier. It becomes easier to talk about, it becomes easier to sell, it becomes easier to get on phone calls with clients, it becomes easier to show up online and talk about design. Like so many things like unlock when you are doing the right work. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, you said the key sentence that I think is the thing that so many people are missing is that your client is going to have success. And that's like the one thing that I hear people say where they're like, but I can't control that. How do I know? I know that I can like do my part and do all these things, but I don't know for sure that's going to absolutely result in XYZ for my client. So what they do is they way back off from saying that they have any influence whatsoever. And we talk about selling, not, you don't sell deliverables, you sell outcomes and results, but they get really stuck because they're like, but how? But
Yeah,
how
because
do
if
I
they don't
influence that?
if they don't believe the outcome or result, how are you they're going to see it on your face that you don't believe the outcome, that they're going to get that outcome, right?
Yeah. And then they'll like way undercharge, way over deliver, and be like, I can't, like, this isn't even sustainable. Like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to like go do something else. And so tell me, like, when someone comes to you and they are missing that piece, like, what is the process do you lead someone through to really understand how to, I don't know, so that they can check all the boxes like,
Yeah.
yep, I'm doing these things. Therefore, I can trust the outcome and results.
Yeah, I get what you're asking. So I think the first thing is I would actually take stock of kind of what is your thought process? Because I think you're already doing it, but you just don't know why. And so it's almost weird. It like I didn't really learn what I was doing until I had to explain it to someone else and teach it to someone else. And so I don't really know what my exact advice on that is. I don't know if it's like build a course and then you'll see, you'll figure out why you do what you do. But even just explaining it to someone else, maybe social media would
Yeah.
be a great place. Getting on, making a reel or making a carousel post and saying like, why is this thing bigger than this? And then you say, well, because like you have all this like idea, like all of this knowledge locked away in your brain and you don't even know it because you immediately like you have all these shortcuts, right? That your brain makes, all these pathways, and you don't even know why you do what you do anymore. So actually like saying it out to someone else and saying, well, I chose this color because this, and I chose this font because it gives a feeling of this. And you just have to start kind of explaining yourself. I think you're going to unlock way more than you think. And then the next step is yes, learn, like I said, like learning sales and marketing, understanding why things are laid out the way they are. Even if you're looking at a sales page or something like that, the sales page is the best place to go because you kind of see the progression versus a web page or website is designed in a different way because it's designed to be kind of like pick and choose versus like from top to bottom. But so a sales page is a kind of a masterclass in how to sell. And you see like the story start to build up. And then the really good sales pages, of course, bad ones are not don't study those, study ours because they're done really well. But you'll see there'll be like little spots of almost like they're having an objection and we needed to crush it. So, for example, let's say like you say, here's the problem, here's the solution, and then you see testimonials. Testimonials act as buffers to go, okay, don't take my word for it. I'm not just blowing smoke. Listen to what they have to say. They also agree with me. And then you get, okay, cool. It's not just them selling at me. People have had success. And so like you just kind of breaking down what's happening. And then even like near a button, you'll see, or like the buy button, and they have what's called an offer stack. They're like, this is what's included. Here's how much it's valued at. And you start to think, what is that doing? Why do they need to have a list of everything? Well, because it's a digital product and it's so hard to know what you're going to get because it's so untangible, right? And so people are like, wait, I'm paying for something. What am I paying for? It's almost okay. So it's kind of like a receipt when you go and you to a store and you want to make sure everything's included that you purchased and that there's nothing crazy on there, or like, what did I get again? And you see everything that's included in what you're getting. So like when you're kind of breaking down, well, this is there, you can start to teach yourself like next time, okay, well, next time I want something intangible to look tangible, I know I should do like a mock-up. Or next time I want a list of features, we need to see why the features matter and like why do the people connect to them, not just a list of benefits, right? So starting to kind of learn that psychology, I think helps train your brain to now think like that automatically. So it's like a muscle we have to build, but breaking down what's currently working and why people, even listening to social media hooks, and you say, or like the way people do it, how they have a hook and then they'll say, I can't believe blah, 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 blah. And then let me tell you. And then they'll say, I'm Cathy Olson from Funnel Gorgeous and I build multiple 7-figure funnels for clients. And here's what I've learned. So you see like they have, okay, cool. They got my attention. Here's what I'm going to learn. Now it's going to be like the trust piece, right? It's the same sales thing when you see a page or whatever. And then think of that in a visual way. Like if I were to put that on a page, how would I visually show that? And then I would have the credential piece, oh, like as seen on or whatever. And so that's kind of really what I started doing, just being really, really paying attention, listening, learning, going, wait, why is that there? What's the psychological thing happening there? And why did they choose to put it there? And then again, you're training your brain to think like that instead of, and yeah, it is really painful at first. It's super annoying because you're like, oh, this is not a muscle I was taught. This is not like natural to me. I'm not a natural salesperson, right? A lot of people aren't. And so that's where, but then when you start to see the recipe of kind of, okay, this is how humans think, it becomes second nature eventually.
And I think I love how you're like, just start kind of explaining your decisions. It's like, if you go to a potential client's like current website and you can't figure out what to do next, and you know what to suggest to change or fix to solve that problem. And you have that intuition, you have that instinct, like you get to trust that. You just have to put some words behind it. And then also, like, if you are unsure, definitely go learn from people who are sure. Like, that's what you guys do over at FG Society is like teach people these things where you're like, oh, okay, maybe I already was doing 70% of this, and 30% of it was like, oh, I didn't realize. And so now you're filling the gap and now you know, and now you're super confident, like go get that support.
Yeah.
I want to go back to what you said earlier about how like you met Julie, your co-founder, and you got obsessed with funnels. Tell me more about how you guys met, what that obsession looked like, and how it became what it is today.
Yeah, childhood trauma is, well, I was just going to say childhood trauma, I think, is what actually attracted me to sales funnels. And that's like really a weird thing to say. But basically, around that time when I discovered them, it was social media was a popularity contest. And it felt
Yeah.
like high school all over again, like Mean Girls and all that stuff. And the cool girls get all the clicks and they sell all the things and they just show up and they do and and it wasn't not true. Like there was definitely like these titans of the industry around that time that just put anything out and just sold it. Like they didn't even have to be good at it. It was a popularity contest.
Yep.
What I really loved about sales funnels was it took the playing field and leveled it. So it took like, you didn't have to have any social media following, like, cause it basically is paid ads, right? So you didn't have to be the cool girl. And it was almost like everybody could sell on an equal playing level, like based on what they were actually bringing to the table and not their popularity. And so I think I was on social media and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard to sell this thing. I keep trying to grow my following in order to sell it because that's the way you did it. And then a friend of mine introduced me to sales funnels. And she's like, you don't have to do any of that, right? I was like, wait, what? Sign me up because I can't stand social media. It's like driving me crazy. And she's like, you got to come to this event. They're teaching sales funnels. And at the time I was like a new mom. I had babies, like breastfeeding, all the things. Traveling across the country was not easy, even a little bit. I didn't make a lot of money. So, I mean, I did relatively, not compared to now.
Sure.
I made a lot of money as a designer or as a course creator. I did not make a lot of money. I mean, maybe like $1,000 something, right? Like not a lot. And so it was a lot to travel around cross country. And she talked me into it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go all in on this sales funnels thing. I went to this event and it was total smoke and mirrors. It was a high pressure sales. I think the offer was to join her mastermind. It was like $35,000, which I'm like, are you crazy? Like, what are you even talking about? Like, I'm not even making money. I haven't even done a sales funnel. I was so confused about the pieces. I was like, I don't understand. Like, wait, so this is $97 and then what's an order bump? But how much is the order bump? And then what are you selling again? And how do you sell it? I had so many questions. None of them were answered. So I went on Facebook. It was in my room. This is in Miami. I went in my room. I was on Facebook and I went to this group called Boss Moms. And I was like, how the heck do I do a sales funnel? I'm at this event. I'm trying to learn sales funnels. They're just selling everybody on this crazy thing and they're not explaining anything. We came here to learn and I'm not learning. And someone tagged Julie. And so Julie got on, because she was in Connecticut. So she's on the same time zone. And normally I'm in California normally. So she was in the same time zone and we were like chatting inside of the actual thing. And she was like, this is what you do. And there's upsell and downsell, blah, blah, blah. And everything she said made sense finally. Like she taught in such a way. And I said, oh my gosh, have helped me more just in this like Facebook conversation than this entire thing I flew to Miami for, which ended up being like, obviously that's where I was supposed to be, even though it's like a weird way of meeting someone to go to be like upset at an event and then you find someone. Yeah, she ended up being my saving grace. I hired her like right away. We built a funnel together, or she helped me build a funnel. I launched it. It did like, I think 25,000 or something in the first month. And then I ended up launching a webinar off of that, did 25,000, I don't know, 20, 30,000 ish, just live on the webinar from one freaking call. Like it was insane. And that's just what I was charging for one website to do that would take me freaking 3 to 6 months to do. And I got it in one day, like 90 minutes. Insane. Like just like game changer, all the things. And so I really never looked back. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm definitely all into sales funnels. And I was like, how do I switch my client business to no clients and just doing digital products? And it took a while. It definitely took a few years. I would say like maybe 2 years. It was like 80% clients, 20% digital. And then I flip-flopped it to 20% clients, 80% digital. And then eventually took my last client in 2019. And I said, okay, here we go. We're done. We're done with clients. And here comes the world of Funnel Gorgeous. So that's kind of in a nutshell. But yeah, it's crazy that like the things that you do will lead to other things, even though they can be colossal failures, which now I'm just like, I'm always open to stuff because of that.
I love that story. I also took my last web design client in 2019 because I was building my course business. And just like what you said, like social media, I do not want to be there. Like, I hate my life. Please, like, so I still like every now and again, I'm like, I should try it again. And then I'm like, I cannot stand this at all. I just did like 30 days of TikTok. And then I was like, I just know, like, I'm not made for it. So I did like relationship marketing, outreach, being on other people's podcasts, all of those things. But I wanted to go back to what you were saying about you like figured out the funnel. Were you selling Funnel Gorgeous, like the templates in the course at that time? What was the funnel that you figured out? And then how did that evolve into the Funnel Gorgeous that we know today?
Yeah. So the first offer was called Brand Designer for a Day. It was $27, I believe. Yeah, there's still OGs that like still haven't. They're like, the course was so good. But yeah, Julie helped me build it out. So basically, we do this thing in Funnel Gorgeous called Launch Gorgeous, where we launch together. I would say like me working with Julie was the kind of precursor to Launch Gorgeous. It worked very similarly, where it was like 8 weeks kind of done together. She'd give me homework every week. And of course, I was like star student. I knocked her socks off. So remember, I was hiring her at this point. We weren't
Yeah.
working together. So she helped me build Brand Designer for a Day. Again, it was $27. And then there was an OTO, which is a one-time offer. I think I had an order bump too at that point. Can't remember what it was. Actually, I had a freebie first. So there was a freebie. It was 50 brand pairing guides. So it was like little mini brand boards, sort of like these colors, these fonts, and then I would give it a name for a style. And I had 50 of them, which took me so freaking long to build. But Julie's like, if your freebie is this good, like forget about it. Like they're going to buy the next thing. And it was true. It totally worked. So I had an awesome download as the freebie. So it was an ad. You get the freebie and then you get like a tripwire, basically. We call them PLM. They're called paid lead maker funnels. So you basically liquidate your ad spend, which means that you put money in and then you get more out. And so you build your list while you're selling. So that's what it was. And then I think the OTO was Web Designer for a Day. So basically, it was like how to just design your stuff and not when you're not a designer. Like it came with templates, all kinds of stuff like that. So yeah, it was designer stuff. And then the webinar that I did, I think it was only like maybe 1 or 2 months later, because that was building up my list so quickly. Like I went from I don't know how many people on my list, maybe like a 500 to like 5,000 very quickly because it was all I was returning. I was actually making a profit on that system. I was building my list and making a profit. I think my profit was maybe 5,000 or something at that point. But again, I was building that list and then I had the webinar and that was Inspired Pro. And that was when I was teaching designers how to charge more, like kind of very similar to what you're doing. But it was like that idea of like high ticket, what goes into it, more of the business stuff. And so that was definitely a shift because it went from like kind of DIY design to like now you're a designer and you're going to be, and it was more of a community and stuff as well.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the shift in it. But I had attracted designers in that side. So it was fine, like to kind of shift to that. And again, I was working by myself at that point. And then I joined Julie's mastermind, which started at the very end of 2017, I think, or 28. Yeah, 2017 very end, like December. So it's basically 2018. And then I just knocked her socks off on doing all the things. I was like, she could see. I just think she was really attracted to me, like, not like that, but attracted to me as a person.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of the skills that she like kind of wished she had. We're like, we completed each other very well on the design side and the design psychology side. And she could see I was really good at or I was becoming good at sales and marketing. So I think she just like really like saw that in me. And then I actually pitched the idea of Funnel Gorgeous, which originally was a course teaching people how to do gorgeous design with sales funnels and not just web pages and not just brands. And I said, I want to call it Funnel Gorgeous, da 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 da. And she said, yeah, that sounds awesome. You're going to rock it out. And I want to do it with you. Like that sounds like something I would be a really good asset for. And so we taught it together. And so we sold it together. We made, I think, $50,000 in a week on that launch, which was freaking amazing. And I think it was only like a maybe 197, 297 offer. But we had done a lot of build up. People were really excited with the two of us. It was a whole thing. And partnerships are very hard, but ours has always been really fun. So people really like it. We have our yin and yang, like we're very different. And so I think it's helpful. But yeah, so Funnel Gorgeous. And then everybody was asking for templates. So we started building templates, selling templates. That kind of started the template side. And then, yeah, we were doing stuff in ClickFunnels. We started teaching. We had Webinar Gorgeous, I think next. That was $100,000 launch. I mean, it just kept going up and up from there. Eventually, we had Marketer's Heart, which was an event. We did almost $1 million in sales at that event in, I think it was 2022. Yeah, so just lots of things. And then in 2020, we switched from ClickFunnels to FG Funnels, and that was another huge game changer. And that's the majority of our focus now is supporting people with FG Funnels and the whole ecosystem of how do you put these offers out, because FG Funnels does everything, pretty much everything. Doesn't make coffee yet, but But FG Society has morphed and changed as well. So it used to be a certification program where we would teach people how to do really good offers, strategy on offers and building and pricing. And then copy, we would teach people how to do compelling conversion copy. And then we would teach the design part and actually building out the funnel. So it was like these 3 skills that just made you like a triple threat marketer, which I think designers should all be as well, like I said. But then we shifted it to now it's more community based and it's more ongoing learning. So yes, it still includes all of that base learning and everything that definitely everyone needs to become like a conversion strategist. But now we have with AI coming out and just all these things changing and the world is changing, we needed a place to keep teaching and actually like talking to each other and having a community. So really FG Society now is a whole bunch, like pretty much we have a class, I think every single week between all of our team members. Then the next one I'm teaching is actually really fun. I'm actually nervous for it, but it's about using AI to design something and then customizing it. So it's almost like using it like a template to start, but then adding the human pieces to it and really rocking it out. And so it kind of gets you like maybe 20% to 40% of the way there. And then you do that, which I think is going to be the new future, even for designers, because it's almost like having an assistant that like hands you their copy all blocked in. And then now you can kind of do the fun stuff. So I'm actually excited about it. I think we're definitely moving into a new era. If you try to pretend we're not, that's not, it's not happening. But I'm really excited about the future for that. I'm excited for us, but for everybody else, I'm excited to bring design to more people. Like, I know that sounds weird because I know we're all like freaked out about it and we want to hold on to it really tightly. But I think it's like such a cool thing to have. And I'm excited about the world and the internet and everything being more beautiful and having more beautiful design. And now I think we just have this like, now we need to up level it and take normal design and make it really freaking good, like really good design. Like it's not enough to be just an okay designer anymore, which I think is good news probably for everybody. So now we're taking okay design because AI is going to be able to do okay design. And now we like up level it to like really, really awesome, like really thoughtful, really like caring, like really beautiful design. So it's like this going from mid to high versus going from ugly to okay. Does that make sense?
I
Yeah.
love that so much.
I feel like I just keep going off and I'm sorry. I gotta tell you, this is what I love to talk about. And so you like kind of have to stop me. It's like,
I don't want to stop you. I'm just like popping the popcorn, like, tell me more. I could sit,
yeah.
like, I'm just like,
I'm not usually like this on podcasts, but I think it's just because this is so close to my heart. And I'm like, man, I could just talk on this forever. So I hope that you guys are getting from this. But yes, ask me any questions about what I just said. And I'm sorry that I keep going off on monologues.
Well, we know that AI is fundamentally
Yeah.
changing the industry for web designers, and people are still trying to like figure out how they want to leverage it, how they want to use it, how they can use it well, how they can not lose the human touch of things, and how they can use it to help them speed things up or build a team without having to deal with people or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's a fundamental shift that's like happening right now that we need to pay attention to and be in rooms where there are industry leaders like you and Julie showing people like, here's how we are doing this and how we're leveraging this and how we're still staying on the cutting edge. And my whole thing is like, DIYers were always going to DIY. They were never going to hire you. Now they're just going to go use AI. But like you said, now if AI can do a pretty good job, we need to level up and do better. But also just feel really confident about how we're using the tools. So I'm right there with you. I just feel like it's such an exciting time. And I don't know. I just don't think there's any, that probably sounds dumb. I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. I'm just not the kind of person that's afraid of stuff like that. I'm just like, where are all the upsides? Like, let's go find all the upsides and let's figure out how to make this work for us. And I also love it when other people who are way smarter and more talented than me figure out how it works for me so I can go learn from them and have it be shortcutted.
I agree. I would agree with that. I love it when people just like, oh, I just spent 3 months figuring this out. Here, I'll teach it to you in 3 minutes. I'm like, yes, please. I will take that. I mean, it's even thinking about AI, people keep saying, "Oh, are you afraid it's going to replace you?" I'm like, dude, replace me. I would love that. I want to go frolic off in the sun and you just do the thing. Like, I'm not getting any younger. I'm like, but so far, it's within our business. So Funnel Gorgeous, we have, I don't know, like 20-ish people or something on our team at this point. Almost everyone's job can get like much easier except for mine. Like, I'm like one of the one people, and also Julie, I think CEO's got a CEO, but
Yeah.
it's so in Julie's like more and more of her job's getting replaced, like in a good way, because she's like trying to actively replace it. But man, it's the strategy stuff, the human psychology stuff. It is not getting there fast enough. And I'm like kind of frustrated. I'm like, dang it. And even the design. But I mean, I think design is just a step away from copy. So that's how I figure out what's going to happen is I look at what happened with copy, right? So with copy, chat was like, everyone we were so excited. They could write all these things for us. It was amazing. And then all of a sudden we're like, wow, we know stuff written by ChatGPT from a mile away, right? And we like, oh, this is AI, ew, like whatever. Same thing's going to happen with design.
Yeah.
Right now, people are blind to it. They don't really notice the difference. I'm sure you notice the difference. I can see it. I can see like the way Claude designs stuff. It's like very obviously Claude. It has like the little pillbox thing and then it has like the subhead and like whatever. And I can see it. I'm like, I already see what it's doing, but other people don't. So they're just not there yet. And so eventually they're going to be able, oh, that's a Claude. That's AI design. Like we can recognize it, but it takes a while for like regular people to kind of see that. Same thing happened with copy. But then now we're like, we don't want to sound like AI. So like, how can we start it with AI? How can we ideate with AI? How can we brainstorm with AI, but then put our human piece on it for the copy? Same exact thing is going to happen with design. How do we get started? How do we get 20% there, 30%, 40% there? And then how do we put our voice into it, our brand into it, like our style, our mood, like what we're trying to like happen, right? Like the psychology. So it's like this layer we add on to it. Same exact thing with copy is going to happen with design. But I do think at least right now, there's a lot of admin stuff that we definitely don't have to do. The stuff that we never like doing, like anything doing with math or dashboards or data. I mean, that's where we're really geeking out on Funnel Gorgeous because we have all of our data. There's this program that a friend of mine's launching called Data Curator, where she pulls in data from all these sources. Because a lot of people, even if you're looking at like a dashboard, if you like log in, a lot of it's wrong for a lot of reasons. And so we call it dirty data, basically. But having all of these answers at your fingertips, really super helpful, really helpful for design because when we're designing web pages and we're like A/B testing, we can actually see things. Oh, this is working really well. This is not working really. Like we have the numbers to back up our design. So kind of back to what we were talking about a little bit about that idea of feeling confident. These numbers are going to give us that confidence. Like this color worked, this didn't work, this worked, this didn't. Like I just changed. We have a webinar every Monday going over the tool and the tech and stuff. And FG Funnels is free, but I just changed a bunch of design stuff on the page and it's already doubled the conversion. And I'm like, there was nothing wrong with the other version, but I just had like a hint, like, or like a hunch of like, I think it's this. And so I changed it and now it's like doing really well. So, but having that data to back up the design decisions, even better, right? So how can we put AI into our, like even client follow-up, right? Last week we were setting up a whole thing, a follow-up system on how to like all the leads that you're getting and just automatically drafting emails to follow up with, and you just like tweak it and hit send or just, hey, we talked, or reminding like what happened with that client or what was their goals or whatever. And just like having that top of mind as soon as, how, you know how much time I used to waste getting back into a project and going, okay, where was I at? Who was this person again? What was our, like, AI can have that ready to go for me. I mean, there's so many ways besides design that AI can make our lives so much easier and be like our little assistant. It's almost like handing it like a surgeon a scalpel. Here you go. Here's all the tools. And then you have all your tools and you're like ready to go. And you're like, yay, I just get to do the fun stuff. So I'm all for that. And that's right now. Like that's the stuff that we're teaching inside of FG Society too, about getting this stuff set up so you can do more of the fun stuff. So I think it's all good news, I think, but I do think if you're going to stay the same, no, it's bad news. If you don't plan on up leveling and becoming this new version, this like strategy designer, no, you're definitely in trouble. But as long as you're open to the new future that looks like AI is my assistant. It's going to help tee up the project. It's going to help me do all the things I don't want to do. And then I get to take it to the next level. Then yes, you are going to do really well.
So good. I want to talk to you about your up leveling throughout your journey because you went from running my boutique high end web design firm to funnels to $1 million event to team of 20. How has your own identity or mindset about yourself needed to like shift for
Mm.
you to make these
Yeah.
evolutions in your business? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think you're probably already doing it, so I'm gonna say a really boring answer, but it's looking for opportunities and being open.
Yeah.
It's like almost exactly what I ended with, to say as long as you're open to
Yeah.
changing and pivoting and like paying attention. I would say that's the biggest thing. I've been saying this forever and ever because this is even how I did really well in my design business, my design studio, was paying attention to underserved markets. For me, it was feminine design because I went to design school and they teach you like neutral design, which is masculine, like inherently, and do not teach you like how to do, or at least they didn't teach me. Maybe it was just my university did not teach like feminine design whatsoever. So there was a huge gap of like people who I actually worked with the wedding industry at first. So the wedding industry, very much like very emotionally charged, very like female, kind of like the way our brains think. And it was just really, really hard for most people to even design that way, let alone have a thriving business. So I kind of fell into that gap and I said, hey, I'm going to serve all these people that are not being served. But I've used that over my whole career. Like even going to sales funnels, I'm like, wow, okay, this is the next unlock. This is the next piece. Like just, and then going into software and running a software company. Like, I mean, I never thought I'd do any of the things I'm doing, but it's just like serving. And okay, instead of serving one person, serving 100 people, instead of 100 people, serving 1,000 people, like just kind of up leveling it to whoever like needs it and kind of focusing on that. And then the funny thing is, I think as far as like identity is concerned, I definitely had to switch out of getting paid for my deliverable. Like that was a
Yeah.
big one. When I shifted from I'm doing design work and here's my work that I've spent 8 hours, 20 hours, 100 hours on, and I'm getting paid for the hours I spent, that to like consulting, giving advice, teaching. I mean, teaching usually isn't a very lucrative thing unless you do it the way that we're doing it. And then it becomes great. So shifting into using my brain in different ways other than using like actually designing was a big one, a big identity shift. And then now, I think now my journey is going from me putting things in advice, creations, design, whatever, building things to like, I actually like my team is actually doesn't need me much anymore. And so it's actually a weird place to be in. And I posted about this on social of like, no one prepares you for like someone needs like putting out all the fires all the time, like coming in, okay, I'm going to come into Slack and there's going to be all these people that need me, to like going to Slack and like no one needs me. And like it's a really weird place to be. And I'm not like through it yet, but like that's where I'm at right now of like, I get like people are like, I know you're so busy and I know you can't. I'm like, I actually don't have anything to do today. Like, but then I'm like, but I need something to do because I better fill. And so I'm like trying to like, oh, I need to learn this or I need to do this or I need to, and which is great. But it's a weird identity shift that I'm still kind of figuring out because this business makes money whether I show up or not. Like at this point, it's running, it's doing the thing, which it should, I guess, after all this time of me doing it. But it's weird. It's weird to just literally, like, I was out the entire week last week. I didn't talk to anybody in the team, and everything was the same. Like nothing changed. Not that it doesn't need me ever, but it doesn't. I don't have to do in order to make money, which is a weird, like, what do I do now kind of spot. So that's where I'm at now.
But like, it's so fascinating because that's what you created when you built your first funnel is like,
Yeah.
okay, like I created this thing that like I built it in a certain way so that I didn't need to be attached
Right.
for it to work and be successful. Now you've translated that into like a business that's a revenue generating asset that you built to work without you having to be in there pushing buttons.
Yeah. Yeah, so
And so like
it swung from literally hours deliverables to I actually don't have to deliver anything. Like, and so it's like, wait, what? Like, so yeah. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that it's the goal, but I guess, and everyone wants that. But then when you're there, it feels weird. Everything has felt differently than I thought it was going to feel. That's like one thing I'll definitely say too. Everything has like, you become the person that it's normal for. So by the time it
Yeah.
happens, you're like, oh, okay, well, that didn't really like feel like I thought it was going to feel because you went through so many things to get there.
Sure.
Yeah, it's fascinating and strange, but I love it and it's awesome and everyone else should do it too.
Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, we only have a few more minutes, so I have a couple more questions for you. What is the biggest challenge whichever one of your businesses had to like overcome to get where you are today?
Ooh, I would say haters probably, like it, but not the way that you would think. Not like on social media, because I still don't have a lot of followers on social media. So it's not like random hater. It's like real haters, like people who actually don't like us. I think the biggest when we switched from ClickFunnels to opening up FG funnels was the hardest thing I've had to go through in the business. It was a lot. It was a big like death of identity as like we were in the ClickFunnels community, loved, revered, put on stages to like when you're not allowed to come like I like not that I didn't want it to go, but like we weren't allowed to show our faces there. So it's like we lost
Yeah.
all the friends in that area. We were called traitors. We had all these arrows in our back for just doing what was best for us, for the company, for the business, because there was such a weird, like culty kind of thing happening over there. So that was really hard. And it wasn't as hard on Julie as it was on me. I remembered like I was crying about it. And I was like, Julie, I miss my friends. I miss my identity. I miss my community. This is really sad. The best thing we've ever done for the business, but very hard, like emotionally, when you have so much like caught up in that, which ended up being crazy because everyone left. So then now everyone's friends with us again because they all left and they're all, using like FG funnels or high level or whatever. So it's kind of silly that I went through that, but I think that was the hardest part, but it was also the biggest shift in our business. We basically invented another $1 million business overnight. So like, yes, it was freaking hard. Yes, it was like painful and it was almost like a cleaving of like separation, almost getting kicked out of like a community. But it was the best thing we've done for our business so far. And it was a really good decision. So I look at it bittersweet. It was very, very hard, but it was very, very awesome and needed to happen anyways. We did it before, like it was a sinking ship and no one else knew. And we kind of got off the sinking ship before it sunk, whereas a lot of people stayed on and it sunk. So it was a good thing, but that was definitely the hardest thing for sure. So not haters like online, but like literal,
Yeah.
like people who were
Yeah.
talking bad about us, posting bad stuff about us. Yeah, all the things. And yeah, and you have to develop a thick skin when it comes to that kind of stuff because not and go, no, I'm not a bad person. Like, no, I didn't. I'm not a traitor. Like, I'm actually just a normal person trying to like feed my family. Like, and
Mhm.
yeah, so that was rough.
Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to say, like, very tangentially, just being in the online marketing world, not following it super closely, but seeing things, I'm just like, oh, I feel like somebody's bringing some integrity and ethics to funnels. I
Yeah.
kind of want to pay attention. And so that
Yeah,
was
I mean,
my
people left with us. Like,
reaction.
yeah, that's the funny thing is people really did rally around the reason we left. Like, right,
Yeah.
we're leaving because of this, and this was in 2020, so it was a crazy freaking time. Anyways, it was November of 2020, so like, yeah, it was a crazy, crazy time. But we took people with us, and I think I've learned a lot about standing for something even when it's hard. And I think the same thing when we create courses and we talk about stuff, we teach stuff. It's not always the most popular thing. We try to be as honest as we possibly can. When things are hard, we don't pretend that they're easy. We talk about migration off of wherever Kajabi or Squarespace or Showit or wherever you are, Flowdesk even, and switching over to FG funnels. And we're like, it's freaking hard. Like it sucks. You're going to hate it. Like, but I think there's something in that, but we're going to be here to support you, right? It's going to suck, but we're going to be here. So like that. So I think there's something in that was totally worth doing over and over and over again, standing for who you are. And I think that's also is how you're going to stand out as a designer, right? Of like, here's what I do. Here's what I don't do. I know a lot of people do it this way. I don't do it that way. And if you're go ahead, go with them. It's fine. But if you're like me and you kind of don't want to do it that way, come along with me and we'll do it this different way and it's going to be great.
Yeah. And for all the people out there who find themselves like, oh, I am afraid to fire this client because they fear the repercussions of like my network or my good name, or what if they trash me or like whatever. I coach so many women web designers through the fear of firing a bad client or whatever. And I'm just like, you have to have the courage to, like, at what cost are you going to continue this relationship? It is costing you so much more than what you think. And when you have the courage to walk away, you guys did it on a like really big scale. But when you have the courage to walk away and then you realize, like, oh, when someone acts the way you're most afraid of them acting, they actually make themselves look worse and you come out better. Like,
Yeah, and it opens you up for the better opportunities, right? I think like
yes.
imagine if we would have wasted our time on the sinking ship. Like if you
Yeah.
think about like the toxic clients or whatever as the
Yeah.
sinking ship that you need to get off of so that you can jump
Yes.
onto the new ship. Like, right? Just don't forget the opportunity that's on the other side of that that you're saying yes to by saying no to something else.
Oh my gosh, Cathy, I could talk to you all day. And seriously, like, just your passion for what you do is just infectious. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. Can you tell everyone where can they go to learn more about FG Society, get connected, get in that world, get in that room, and start really putting that confidence behind what they're already doing and shoring themselves up for what's to come
Yeah.
going forward?
Yeah, I definitely think if anyone wants to continue learning and kind of growing as we go, just like in a smaller container for sure, FG Society, it's $67 a month, total no brainer. And you get so much training. It's fun. You just go to join FGS or you can, there's other joinfgs.com. That's the best place to go. And I think that's something you can even just try it for it's month to month. So you can just try it for 1 month, get some of the courses. Actually, it's funny. Sometimes we'll sell the courses that are in there outside and people will pay for $97 for like a course we just did. And you could get so much more. It's so funny that people, they just like don't want to join a membership. They're like, I'd rather pay $97 for a one time than 67 going. But I'm like, just join the 67 and then cancel if you don't like it. Anyways, it's just funny. That's another human psychology funny thing that I geek out on. But as far as like social media, so we're at Funnel Gorgeous on Instagram and all the places, but I actually just started a brand new like Cathy account where I'm doing a lot of solo teaching and like in all of the stuff we talked about today with conversion design, stuff that we're doing inside of Funnel Gorgeous that's working. I plan on actually talking about the breakdown of what I changed on the webinar sign up page. I haven't done a video yet, but by the time this comes out, it'll be out. I'm going to do like a reel on that of like what I changed and stuff. And that's a brand new account and it's at Cathy Funnels. And it's just Cathy with a C. So Cathy and then funnels, Funnels. And that's going to be like a new account where I'm just going to geek out. I just like get to geek out all by myself because the other one's like a business account and we're running lots of ads and all that stuff. And I feel like I can't really say like everything over there. So Cathy Funnels side is my new exciting project where I'm just going to blah, blah, blah. Here's all the stuff we're learning. Here's all the stuff that you guys need to know, whether you're a designer or not. Anyone wants to do that. But yeah, I'm an open book. As you can see, I'm not a weird like pedestal kind of person. So message me if you have questions over on that account. I'm on it every single day and I answer all my DMs. I'm not like crazy like that. And I give all of the information away. So definitely connect with me. I'd love to chat with anyone.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to put those links in the show notes. Joinfgs.com, at Cathy Funnels on Instagram. Yeah, thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Shannon. Thanks for the great questions. And yeah, I hope it helps some people and it encourages them that like they're much closer than they think and that they already know a lot of what they need to know in order to like for the future. They just need to double down on it.
So good. All right. That's a wrap, everyone. We'll see you back here next week. Bye.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.